this particular topic called Agile Mindset. So before I actually get into the presentation, no, and then try to share my perspectives, I just wanted to know from you people, do you have any kind of a expectation from this particular session? Like you can actually put it over there in the chat, no, so that I can pick it up and then slightly, no, try to customize the flow of the conversation, okay, based on your expectation. Okay, Abhishek says how to motivate a team. Fine, but then okay, fine, okay, got it. Then any other expectations? How think through long term and short term goals? Okay, okay, all right, all right. So in the meantime, people actually put over their particular viewpoints or the expectation. Let me try to quickly introduce about myself. My name is Balaji.T, and I'm presently playing the role of an executive agile coach and heading the Agile Transformation Office. I do have somewhere close to 20 years of experience in this particular IT field, somewhere close to 12 and a half years experience in agile driven engagements, and also predominantly for the past 6 years I am also part of the interview panel for his Scrum Master, Agile coaches and Agile project managers. Okay. Now, this particular topic, right, say in terms of this particular agile mindset, this is a bit a tricky topic. Meaning to say, mindset is actually something very subtle, right? So it is not like a matrix where no, you can just like that directly go and do some kind of a prerequisites, some kind of a precursor activities, and then you can actually quickly quantify it, right? So can actually someone tell me what makes difficult to measure a mindset? Any thought process from your point of view? Okay, how will you measure a mindset? Okay, Chetan says it is not quantifiable. All right. Okay, if it is not quantifiable, then probably if someone asks us, okay, whether this particular team has the right mindset, then no, probably how is that we can actually answer them? How to enable resisting team to be agile? All right, all right. Because okay, Abhishek says that because it is a different per person. Okay, I think Abhishek wanted to tell that it actually differs from a person to person. So how we can actually put it, like a kind of whether this particular team has the team has the agile mindset or not. Okay, so let me let me go ahead and then share the slide. We can have a walkthrough of the slides, and then probably we can actually come back to the chat, and then let us have a collaborative learning together as a team. Okay, 1 second. Just give me a minute. Able to see these particular slides? Something in front of you? Can someone confirm me in the chat? Able to see the slide? Okay. Abhishek says yes. Okay. Okay. Srini says yes. Good. Okay. Okay. So this is just a quick introduction about myself, like in terms of my experience, in terms of my education background, and in terms of the agile related capabilities and the competencies. And respecting your experience that you have seen the slide, I'm not going to go through it line by line. Let me actually jump to the second slide. Okay, so in this particular slide, which we all know, what is being seen at the surface is actually a tip of the iceberg. Meaning to say, multiple companies or rather multiple teams do have Jira, they have Rally, they have a version 1, they actually do a product backlog refinement, they actually do the planning of the iteration, they do a demo review retrospective. All these things are evidently seen, but by and large they are less powerful. You actually need to make it more powerful together with having the right mindset. So this particular diagram is a common one in the agile literature whenever we are trying to explain the mindset and the maturity of the team. So if you see deep dive, whatever the whatever it's been exposed is only the tip of the iceberg. Whereas if you see below, you have a layer of practices, then you have a principles behind the practices, and you have some values, and then you go to the level of the mindset. Okay. Now, I just wanted to know from the audience. So, when you see this particular iceberg diagram, like where are you currently in your team? So can we come back to the chat just to take a quick look? Okay, where is that your team is currently? Is it at a practices level, or at a tools level, or at a principle level? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Everyone has a different way of thinking, so the definition of mindset is different. That is adding more fuel to the fire, because mindset itself is a intangible entity. Mindset itself is a subtle aspect, and if everyone has a different no different connotations to it, then it becomes then it makes life even more difficult. But then we are not actually going to talk about mindset, we are talking about agile mindset. So agile mindset as such has some predefined attributes or some kind of a characteristic features. So we are now going to see, okay, what are those predefined attributes, or what are those characteristic features, and then we will deep dive into the session. Okay, so it is a PPT, by the way, it's not a PDF. I'll just go to the second slide. Agile mindset, you actually have the tools and processes, and you have your practices or ceremonies, but then you have the principles, then something called values and the mindset. Let us actually go through the slides, and then we can come back to our collaboration. So okay, so it all starts with, generally people tell, right, doing agile versus being agile. But my say is, yes, fully agree. But if I don't even do agile, how I can be agile? So there is nothing wrong in doing agile. But the problem comes when you only curtail doing agile. From the doing agile, if someone doesn't have the continuous improvement bent of mind, if some teams doesn't have the growth mindset to actually move from doing agile to being agile, there comes the problem. Doing agile in itself, okay, I don't think it's a crime to be quoted as this team is only doing agile, right? Okay, they are doing agile. What needs to be done from doing agile to the being agile? You cannot get it done if you are not having clarity on the principles behind the practices. So someone will ask me, what are all the principles? All those are the basic concepts, right? We have 4 values from the Agile manifesto, and we have 12 principles of Agile. If we are slowly moving from principle practices to understanding the principles, and then suffusing the values, then I think you are on the way towards the Agile mindset. Okay. So let us quickly go through some of the slides so that our thoughts have a convergence, and then we can go to the chat. See, if you see this particular diagram also, what it says is, okay, what it says, implementing a tool or implementing any practices is more evidently visible, whereas it is less powerful. Whereas mindset is actually believed to be more powerful, but unfortunately it is not visible. So it becomes difficult to capture it and measure it. Okay. Now some people ask me, okay, all these things are okay, but then no, how will you translate it into an implementable action item? Well, why not do it in this manner? This is how I have coached my team of teams. Let me call out what are all the attributes or what are all the characteristic features probably tending towards an agile mindset. Okay, predominantly it could be an iterative development, an incremental approach, eliminating the waste, aligning it to the client-centric business outcomes, continuously doing a feedback loop, creating a value-centric delivery model, and then closure of your the closure of your retrospective action items. Okay, what about your happiness index of the team? What about your customer satisfaction? Okay, then are there any improvement in the metrics? Okay, does the team has that continuous improvement tendency? And then keeping up the client's commitment. Why not we actually prepare a grid like this? Okay, why not you actually actually prepare a grid like this, and then see right from the beginning of this first sprint to second sprint, third sprint, fourth sprint, how are we progressing along that particular journey. Okay, so let me stop sharing here deliberately. I just wanted to come back to the chat to see some of the things, and then we can go back to the slide. Leadership team thinks when the team is able to work on ALM tools seamlessly, they are agile. Okay. Actually, real leaders will not think like that. Maybe in that organization, that particular leadership team thinks like that, which I never deny. Because I also come from a typical hands-on or no from a service-based company, and I have worked in multiple companies. Leadership team will think like that, but real quality of a leader, okay, should not think like that. Okay, just to answer your question. Okay, now let me get one or two quick comments. When you saw that slide, right, wherein I have mentioned some of the attributes, and then I have mentioned first iteration or the sprint 1, sprint 2, 3, 4. What kind of thoughts came to your mind? Okay, can you please put it in the chat? Don't you think it is a way to start taking teams towards agile? Yes. Okay. Chetan says yes. Can we have slightly more descriptive answers? Uh, okay. Yes. In terms of what actually makes you to do it? No, makes you to tell it. Is this applicable only for a large teams? Okay, see, any kind of an improvement you start doing for your fundamental, the basic teams. Okay, because a macrosome is actually a combination of a microsomes, right? Unless and until I don't do justice to my basic pod teams or PDO, product driven organization teams, you cannot directly jump onto your program team. I think we want to do it to make people adaptable to change. Okay, now one question like what I wanted to say is, before you actually jump on to how to change, what needs to be done to change, the fundamental question is why to change. As actually Simon Sinek says, let us begin the journey by questioning why. Why do I need to do an agile transformation? Why do I need to change? Is this change is good for me? If you are more convinced on the why part, believe me, automatically there will be clarity in the what and the how part. Many organizations struggle because they are not very clear on why are we doing, what are we doing. They do agile because some other competitor did an agile. See, doing agile or rather being agile is actually definitely going to give you some kind of a benefit. But if you really understand the why part, that particular benefit will be a sustainable one, right? So can we directly jump on training or guiding them on incremental development? Yes. See, now let me answer it in this manner. First of all, you cannot do only coaching, though the word says as an agile coach, because International Coaching Federation, which is called as a ICF, clearly gives a guideline. Coaching is something wherein the coach will be asking powerful questions to the coachee and then try to find answers from the coachee. But do you think in a real-time industry you can do only coaching? If your agile coach is only asking you, or keep on asking you powerful questions, how will you feel? Sometimes the agile coach need to give you some guidelines, some guidance, some kind of a template, some kind of a training session, right? Only then a coach can enable you or empower you. So the point what I'm trying to say is, though in the industry it is called as an agile coaching, it is not only coaching. It is a mixture of facilitation, training, teaching, mentoring, everything harmoniously blended as per the context. Now, someone will ask me, what will be the percentage weightage points? The context need to define the percentage weightage points. If it is a new team, only asking powerful questions to the team is not going to help them, because they came from a typical waterfall. Now, if I want to take them to agile, first I need to conduct some trainings, right? Like I need to make them understand what is definition of ready, what is definition of done, how to do a vertical slicing of the user story, what do you mean by a user story, how to write a user story. All these things training need to be given. And once they complete 4 or 5 sprints, then probably you can ask some powerful questions to actually take them to the next level. Okay, how do you do, see, how do you do the training depends on a lot of factors. In actually some of the companies, yes, we used to conduct trainings, or in some of the companies, let's say someone need to be trained on some of the aspects of a framework. Let's say you take Kanban as a framework. Okay, I used to do some recorded sessions and then put it onto the intranet or the shared drive. The people will be watching those particular recorded sessions, and then they will come to the workshop. Watching those recorded sessions will be like a precursor activity or a no, yeah. See, the point is like this. There is no one way to do it. Depending upon so many dynamics, you need to find out what actually works out. One more point which need to be kept in mind is, what is the time given for a transformation, right? Because if you have only 3 to 4 months to transform a team from point X to point Y, I cannot do experimentation there. Every day counts for me. So, okay, what is that I am trying to say is, even a coach should start thinking from a system thinking point of view. It is not doing just coaching and then enabling the team. The organizational dynamics, the client's dynamics, the business driver behind the transformation, the existing constraints to do the transformation, everything need to be factored before I jump on to the final call. Okay, now someone will actually ask us, how do you change the mindset? Okay, now directly you cannot touch the mindset, right? So you need to begin with some new ways of working. So the moment the people does some new way of working, their behavior and their thinking pattern changes. And the moment you are able to change the thinking pattern of a person, probably the value derivation behind the thinking, or what they valued till now, slightly undergoes a change. Then slowly you can change the mindset. It is not like someone. Okay, let me give an example. A kite. A kite is somewhere high in the sky, very high, right? But still, the end of the kite, the rope is in your hand. You cannot touch the kite. Fully agreed. But then the way you move the rope has some kind of an impact on the kite. Okay. How many people agree to this? Let's see. So my say is that that particular mindset is the kite. Yes, I cannot directly influence it because wind is there, temperature is there, lot of external factors. But still, something that is there in my circle of influence. And agile coaches is someone who actually does something to continuously expand the circle of influence. Okay, yes, the type of kite matters, the length of the rope matters, the direction of the wind matters. So many factors are actually there. But then the fundamental thing is, am I talking about circle of concern from a problematic mindset, or am I talking from a circle of influence from a solution point of view? Because coach should have first the right kind of an agile mindset, right? Before I preach someone, I need to practice it. So an agile coach is someone who takes some steps and measures to continuously improve himself or herself. Only then the coach can preach what he or she practices. If you don't walk the talk and then only make a talk, it may not sustain in the long run. For the time it may glitter, but all that glitters is not gold. Only gold is gold, right? So a lot of things need to be factored. Okay, who implements this? This means what? This refers to the mindset. Okay, now whenever you are doing an agile transformation, first of all, you need to define the scope or the boundary of the transformation. Is it for a team, or is it for an LOB, which is called a line of business, or is it for a portfolio, or is it for an enterprise level agility? Unless and until you define the scope of the transformation, we cannot directly give a one-word answer to these questions. Typically, if you are actually talking about an enterprise level agility or an organizational agility, it is the responsibility of the enterprise agile coach to drive it forward, because we cannot expect a coach to own all the things, but coach will be the center point of contact so as to drive the changes forward together with some change agents, right? Because whenever you are doing a large scale agile transformation, you cannot do it without an organization change management processes. Okay, so let's go one thing. Let us jump back to the slide and then we can just come back. Okay, so one way to do is probably you can define some of the attributes here and then see across the sprints, how am I progressing in terms of these particular attributes, and then you can take a call to begin the journey. Okay, then these are all some of the aspects or parameters which we need to keep in mind if you are really talking about a mindset. What is the belief system of the team? Does the team have some kind of a feedback loop? Does the team take an empirical approach? Do I have an evidence based management system for me to make a decision making? Do I have a decentralized decision making? Because if all the decisions have been centralized, believe me, it is very difficult to do a transformation. At the same time, all the decisions cannot be decentralized also, because an organization wherein all the decisions are decentralized without a proper lean governance model may sometimes become a chaotic move. So to what degree of centralization and what degree of decentralization, I am now going to explain in the forthcoming slides. You can just hold on for now with your thoughts. Okay, so here, for example, we actually talked about the behaviors, right? Okay, what are the behaviors? Probably continuous improvement, probably self-organization, because generally people talk about a self-organization, but I don't believe in a self-organization unless and until the team is cross-functional. You cannot build a self-organized team and sustain it if the team is not cross-functional. So one way to make the team is self-organized. First, you focus on making the team really cross-functional. Then the team will automatically become self-organized, right? So these are all some of the aspects or dimensions which we need to keep in mind. Okay, whatever it has been mentioned in this particular slide. And for example, the product backlog health index, because product owner need to continuously create visibility on the horizon. Okay, let me ask a question. One second. Okay, what will actually happen if a product owner is not continuously creating a visibility on the horizon? Can someone answer? Suppose my product owner is not creating visibility, then what will suffer? Then what will happen to the team? Guys, I am audible, right? Because I just get a doubt. Okay. Mukesh says development. Okay, so the question is, if the product owner is not responding, see, I'm actually pretty much sure many of you have that particular challenge. More than 100% I can tell, because I know the pain point of a scrum master or a team level coach. I typically came from that only. Okay, product will get delayed if there is no clarity. Team's throughput will get impacted. Very good point. Why? Because instead of executing the work, the team is doing planning when they are supposed to execute the work. So what will happen? User stories will get a carry forwarded. Features will get a carry forwarded. User stories will get carry forwarded across the boundary of the iteration. Features will get carry forwarded across the boundary of the program increments. Of course, whether you use SAFe or not, program increment is a bigger container planning. Even if you're not using SAFe framework, you still have a kind of a bigger container planning, right? So what will happen? Now the team had started doing the user story. Now they are trying to understand what is the story. It need to be parented to which particular feature and what is the acceptance criteria. Hey, what about the dependencies? Looks like this story has a dependency with some other story. All these things should have been addressed at the feature level itself. But teams are trying to do it when you are about to deliver fast. The teams are doing planning, so it is bound to happen. Okay, so Kaushik says no clarity about the stakeholder requirement. Okay, so let me tell a point here. Requirement clarity has nothing to do with Agile, has nothing to do with your framework called as Scrum or Kanban. People need to have clarity on what are they doing, irrespective of the methodology of the software development life cycle itself. So bringing all the problems under the umbrella called Agile is not a matured approach, right? Even in a traditional waterfall model, if you don't know what you are supposed to deliver, what is my priority, then what are we doing there? We means I'm asking product owners and product management group. Because let me tell one point clear, I don't want my scrum master and team to think about what to do. Ideally, my scrum master and the team should think about how to do. The what part should come from the product owner or someone from the product management group. If those people are giving it a delay, then something need to be addressed from a systemic issue. So leaving aside Agile, leaving aside your Scrum Kanban framework, let's say today is March 1, right? If someone asks me, okay, Balaji, so what are all your top priorities for this month? Yes, I have my list ready. Just because I am doing Agile does not mean that I will think about creating clarity on the product backlog only one day before the planning of the iteration. Agile says that, see, never ever Agile says don't do planning. In fact, if you go through the Agile onion planning model, Agile clearly gives different levels of planning. All that Agile says is don't hold on to your plan as the definition of success criteria, because waterfall model is a plan driven approach, whereas an Agile is a value driven approach. If I hold on to the plan as a success criteria, sometimes when the market changes, requirements may tend to change. But Agile never told don't do planning. In fact, Agile says do extensive planning, but keep the plan flexible enough so that you can accommodate the emerging priorities, evolving requirements. So we call in Agile a word called rolling wave plan based on progressive elaboration. But for you to progressively elaborate, you need to have clarity on the quarterly priorities. Okay, so these are all some of the points which we need to keep in mind. So okay, now why are we spending time on practices and principles and the behavior? Because you cannot change the mindset without touching all these layers, right? If you can't even do something which is grossly, if you can't even change an entity which is gross, which can be touched, which can be physically felt, which can be seen, how you can change something which is very subtle? And things which are not seen are more powerful, like the foundation of a building. The foundation of a building can only be imagined once the building got constructed. You cannot see the foundation, but without the foundation, the entire building may actually collapse. Okay, so let's keep the ball rolling. I'll just go back to it. 1 minute. I think here we have stopped. Okay, so here we will start with the behavior and try to understand the culture of the organization, the culture of the client, and try to do some continuous improvement things. And then we will focus on the improvement in the productivity, predictability, all those things. And then we will come to the value. Okay, so this is something which I have taken from one source, which is going to tell the comparison between agile mindset and the bureaucratic mindset. Okay, so one of the things, as far as agile mindset is considered, it has been told as law of the client or the customer. And you have a small teams which are self-organizing so that the collaboration, communication, and the coordination aspect can can be taken care of predominantly. And then organization need to be more of a network oriented organizations. It, of course, we may still need a kind of a hierarchy, like in terms of managing the entire vertical alignment to the strategy, but having a hierarchy in itself should not curtail the flow of a value. Okay, if you are able to maintain the flow of a value, then even in a hierarchy, I don't see any problem. Okay, so we will see whatever emerges out. Okay, now let me tell a real time situation. Someone told me we need to make our client teams rapid value delivery. Okay, let me go back to the chat here. 1 second here. Okay, now the question is how to make teams to have rapid value delivery. So before I showcase my solution slide, let us try to have some kind of thoughts from you people. Okay, how will you make a team to have quick value delivery? Any kind of a thoughts? Clarity. Okay, clarity on what are we, like fundamentally clarity on what are we trying to okay, what is our goal? Okay, by giving clear goals, and then you may need to create a consensus, right? Very good. And you may need to do a good planning. Okay. Okay, okay. So let me actually making sure the whole team is aligned. So probably you can create a team charter. You can create a working agreement. You can create more shared understanding between what needs to be done. All those things can be taken. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. One of the main thing what I actually felt is I have seen from my experience, if you really take care of your retrospective action items, right? Whatever retrospective action items you actually capture, if you really work on those particular retrospective action items, believe me, over a period of 2 to 3 months, tremendously the teams have progressed. Because what is the use of doing a retrospective if we do not really fix the issues, right? Because information should not be misinterpreted as a transformation. That is my say. Information is still only information. Only when information is implemented in a sustainable manner, you are actually touching the layer of a transformation. So one of the challenge here, one of the challenge here is some of my teams used to tell, even to work on the improvement, even to work on the retrospective action items, we need some time, right? Yes. So what you guys need to do, whenever you are doing a capacity planning for the next sprint, why don't you assign some 5% of the total capacity to work on the retrospective action items, and translate this particular retrospective action item into a user story, into a consumable user story, and then assign the story to someone, because everyone need to be accounted for their effort, right? If you don't do like that, then it is going to create a friction. Or any suggestions from you people? Okay, so just to cut a long story short, my say is that doing a retrospective, okay, and when I say retrospective, let me tell very clearly, it is not only team level retrospective, it is program increment level retrospective, LOB level retrospective, it is a release level go live retrospective. Because whenever you hear the word retrospective, your mind may think only team level retrospective. Absolutely no. I'm depending upon the context, it actually could be an organization level retrospective too. And we have created something called a Kaizen backlog. And then at an enterprise level agility, we have identified the retrospective action items, and then we have also translated it into user stories, and then assigned it to different diversified group. Let them actually work on it and then come back and then present it. Okay. So someone is asking any tools you use for agile planning. Okay, I don't use any other tools which has been dedicatedly used to do planning. I still use the ALM tool or whatever tool which is given by the client. It could be Jira, it could be Rally, it could be version 1. What is more important is the process clarity, the contextual clarity. The tool is going to be only an enabler or a okay, the tool is going to be only an enabler or a facilitator. The tool is not going to come and then fix the problem for us. Okay, all right, so let's keep moving. 1 minute. Okay, so let me go to the next one. Let's say this is my own thought process, what I thought to put. Rapid value delivery. Okay, what is the problem statement or what is that we are trying to address? Let's say here the product is built to be released into production, value is being delivered on demand, and also the product should be customizable enough. The product should be adaptable enough to the changing customer need, and automation should also enable continuous value delivery. Because for me, before I get into the acceptance criteria, first I need to have some details of what did I meant by rapid value delivery and why it is important. Because by doing a rapid value delivery, the time to market is going to get reduced, and also the product can adapt to customer needs more faster, right? So rapid value delivery could be a part of your GTM or a go to market strategy. Now, what could be the acceptance criteria? Based on what aspects or characteristic features, yes, I can tell I have achieved a rapid value delivery. Probably these could be some of the examples, right? The product ownership can decide to release, when to release it to customer. You have a strategy for making your APIs. Delivery automation is very complete. You have a continuous delivery capability is being maintained, okay, through your CI/CD pipeline. So these are all some of the acceptance criteria what came from my mind. Depending upon your ecosystem, your product ecosystem or your project landscape, you may need to define your own acceptance criteria. I can just give you some pointers. Okay, it is up to you to make the fire out of the spark. Okay, all right. So before I go to stay connected slide, let us now come back to the the chat. I just want to spend a good amount of time there. Okay, so these are all. So in that one of the slide I have shown you, right, you can start putting all the positive attributes, whatever you think which will which will actually take your team more towards agility. Okay, or rather sustained agility. Some of the pointers is, first of all, the team should have a continuous improvement mentality. Because if you're really talking about an agile mindset cannot be achieved or cannot be obtained when someone does not have a continuous improvement mentality. The second thing is giving a good amount of importance to the feedback, right? It could be a team level feedback or it could be a program increment level feedback. Whatever it is, frequently you need to do some inspect and adapt cycles. Okay, can someone say what will happen if you are not giving importance to the feedbacks? Like what kind of negativities may come if we are not giving importance to the feedback generally? Okay, why does feedback matter? That is my question now. Not feeling valued. Okay, if you are not seeking feedback, probably the client will not feel valued. Okay, so the feel factor of the client may go for a toss. We are limiting ourselves and blocking our opportunity to grow. Okay. Diversity of opinions. Okay. So the fundamental point is like this, right? Working software over comprehensive documentation. Now what happened? Slowly we are touching the value part, right? Because the Agile Manifesto 4 lines comes from the value. Okay, basically it is not from the principles or the practices. If I don't have a working software, then on what I will get a feedback, right? So working software over comprehensive documentation. We are not saying comprehensive documentation doesn't have any value. So whenever you are echoing the this particular agile manifesto, try to also include the footer line. While there is value on the right, the value on the left is more than the value of the the value on the right. So comprehensive documentation still have value. It has lot of value typically in a BFSI domain. You have your regulatory, you have your compliance, you have your governance like FATCA, JATCA and all. You can try to Google it. FATCA, GATCA, FATCA, JATCA and all. And typically in a healthcare domain, compliance in BFSI and the healthcare domain, comprehensive documentation, lean agile audit, everything has a value. But unfortunately, business value realization does not come out of comprehensive documentation. It comes only out of working software. So the moment I give importance to working software, I am giving importance to the feedback. So now what happened? Instead of talking from a framework orientation, slowly we are trying to talk on the behavioral aspects or the dimensions. Slowly we are going towards the value. Then comes the mindset. Okay, and typically to share my own experience, whenever I have done a cultural transformation for some of my clients, I have taken mindset as one of the important parameter. But then the question comes, how will I measure mindset? Okay, let me tell some of the parameters which will be closer to the mindset. Okay, let me actually ping it in the chat itself so that you people can get it. The happiness index, employee engagement score, right? Then retention of the employees. Task is also important. So task success. So probably based on these parameters, we used to create some kind of a questionnaire, and then we used to do some assessments, and then say it's a journey from less agility to more agility. Because if you go to your client and then tell your culture is a 0, then your engagement will get cancelled. It is not a Boolean number to be measured. It is a scale to be calibrated from less agility to more agility. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, and clearly we need to define connotations for what is 1, what is 2, 3, 4, and 5. It is not that easy that I can tell density is equal to mass by volume. Okay, any suggestions or pointers here on actually what am I trying to explain? Or how do you feel? We will have this session still 15 minutes more, okay, just to optimize the time. We can have it 15 minutes more, but just I wanted you to look into these parameters. Okay, what do you mean by happiness index? It's a simple English. It is the emotional comfort factor of the team, which you can still measure it by something called emotional seismograph. You try to Google later, you will understand what is that I am trying to tell. Emotional seismograph is a technique wherein you actually draw a chart on the first day of the sprint to the 10th day of the iteration, and then ask your teams, how does your mood swings across the days of the iteration? Of course, different people will have different mood swings. We cannot try to converge everything, but at least we are trying to move from a diverging zone to a converging point. Okay. Is agility is only a quantitative approach or also qualitative? Okay. So the honest answer from my end is, even today I am trying to get answer to these questions, because the more I evolve, my own answers to these questions will also change. But as of now, what I feel is, you cannot quantify everything, but however you can create some guidelines even for the qualitative aspects. Fully agree that happiness cannot be measured by a number, but why not have a guidelines on a scale of 1 to 5, and then define what is 1, what is defined, and then give some guidelines there, and to some extent you are trying to paraphrase it. Okay, the only problem there is, okay, why I need to define, okay, so why I need to define a connotation. Okay, if not, what is okay, if you are not defining a connotation, then how will you measure it then? And something which you don't measure, or something which you don't have a numerical, know a numerical aspect, you cannot try to you cannot try to improve it in the long run. For that aspect, it is better to create some guidelines for all some of the qualitative aspects, and then define the connotation over there. Okay. See, one of the best way to do a cultural transformation, or even one of the best way to do a retrospective, is you ask the team itself, guys, do you have any suggestions to do retrospective in a better manner? Do you have some other ways to improve the retrospective? Because the moment you are asking that question to the team, you are not only enabling and empowering the team, you are also creating a buy-in from the team. And the moment you create a buy-in, the people will respond to it better. People generally resist because buy-in was not created. Or what you feel? Like, do you agree to my points? Let's see whether you use a whether you use a physical board, whether you use a virtual board, this board, that board, agile gaming techniques. All these things are fine. These are all enabling factors. But what is paramount importance is team need to understand every practices or every ceremony in a framework has a purpose behind it. Don't do the ceremony as a ritual just for the sake of it. Understand the purpose. So slowly you will move from practices to principles behind the practices. Then from there you try to reverberate the value. See whether you understand it or not. Okay, that is no your problem or the individual problem. Every practice has a principle behind it. Whether we understand it not is a secondary level question. So understand the principles behind the practices. Say for example, let me give an example. Why do we need to do a PI planning? Maybe there is a reason behind it, right? When scaled agile framework introduced the concept of a PI planning, definitely there is a purpose behind it. And one more thing is, why don't you take the safe principles, whatever be the principles, 9 or 10, and then keep it by the side, and then also take your PI planning calendar, try to juxtapose both and see what are all those principles of safe which is being supported by the practices of no safe. Believe me, the moment you understand the principle, tomorrow when a new context came, you can create your own framework, like what I created called a customized agile framework called CAF, and I also created a framework called a BAF, business agility framework. So I created CAF and BAF because I know the pain points of the client, because I know the constraints, okay, based on the theory of constraints. Then we did a design thinking or a product discovery workshop. Then we did a system thinking. Then we did a waste identification workshop. Factoring everything, we have created a CAF. So understand the principles behind the practices and understand the values behind that principles. I think if you do these three things enough justice, at least we are touching the mindset. Okay, I'm not sure why Srini typed it twice, but then it's okay. Bala, before we empower the team, I think the team. Okay. Sorry, means he has missed some line in the first time. Okay, I think as a coach, we need to justify how the team will get benefited behind this empowerment. Okay. So, what is the challenge in justifying it? If we have clarity on what are we trying to do, what is the challenge in terms of justifying it? See, future is always uncertain. Even in the return on investment calculation or the model, it is just an envisaged number, right? And that too in this particular VUCA world, future become even more uncertain. But the point I am trying to say is, you need to identify the quick wins. Means Even for me to secure funding for my agile transformation, my business is going to continuously fund me only when I showcase some value. So what could be the value? Improvement in the predictability, productivity, compression of lead time and the cycle time, improvement in the quality. First of all, there are no production defects, and whatever defects came are of a minor connotations, or it is not a critical defect. So the customer is also happy. So we need to sometimes look into both the leading indicators and the lagging indicators. That's why it is called an indicator. We need to look into the leading indicators, lagging indicators, and then also we can actually take a call. Okay. Um, okay. Any other questions, particularly on this topic mindset, or if actually some, okay. Let me ask a very open-ended question. If someone is going to ask you, how will you proceed with this assessment on a mindset? What will be your answer now? Like no, after attending this particular session, if someone asks you, how will you proceed? No, how will you proceed to assess the mindset of the team? Then what will be your answer? I think we have covered here a bit, right? Some of the slides we showed what are all the things we used to do. So from there you can take some pointers and then create it. I would say it's a 5-part process. Start with defining the goal, then asking how happy they are. Okay. See, now the point here is whenever we are saying improvement, right? Don't think improvement is always a quantum leap, because the moment you think improvement as a quantum leap, some people may feel demotivated psychologically. And if you as a coach feel demotivated, then how are you going to motivate your team? Because someone asked me right here how to motivate the team. One of the best way to motivate a team, clear cut 100%. Ask the team what motivates them. Don't do any analysis, paralysis, hypothesis and all. Ask the team, hey guys, what actually motivates you? And then get the expectation from them. It is as simple as that. Whether we are able to fulfill all the factors or not from an organizational constraint, that is a different question altogether. The best way to know what motivates the team is to ask the team. What is there to do analysis, paralysis in that? Okay, define the goal, then start asking how happy. Okay, now let me introduce something like improvement kata. There is something called improvement kata, which I wanted you guys to take a look later. Okay, A3, A4. You can put A3, or you can even you can put A4. It is something came from the lean approach. What it means is, it is like whatever you are trying to do. No, you can put it in an A3 or a A4 template. We are giving a lean approach to it, so it is called A3, A4 kata. Kata is a shorter PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act. If you are aspiring for a quantum leap, no, sometimes it may not happen. So can I do something to make my today better than yesterday? Can I do something to make my tomorrow better than today? Which is also improvement. And if someone is not able to do smaller kata improvements, then how they can do a quantum leap, right? So incremental improvements need to be there. Improvements need not be only a quantum leap. Probably you may need to think from that angle too. Okay, I think by and large I'm done, unless you have any questions. Okay, sometimes, okay, let me share my experience. Okay, how I do a retrospective is, sometimes I actually do a retrospective using a metrics, which is called a data-driven retrospective. We actually take the metrics itself, and then why not do a retrospective in terms of your whatever the story points you committed, why are you not able to deliver? Are there any other stories which are getting carry forwarded? If so, why? All these kinds of metrics, which is data-driven retrospective. Sometimes I use something like an agile gaming technique, right? You have simple gaming technique like a sailboat sailboat retrospective, just to have a variety. Sometimes I use a health radar chart and then do a retrospective. Sometimes I use an emotional seismograph, okay, and then I will do a retrospective. Every time I will try to do something different so that there is a variety in the thinking process and team feel motivated. If you just do always the same thing, no, what went well, what did not go well, and like what are all the improvement items, believe me, people may not come to the retrospective. So instead of blaming the people, can we do something like, okay, as a scrum master or as an agile coach, can I do something as a change agent? So before I preach someone, can I literally demonstrate those particular attributes, okay, on the play field? I think then people by and large resonate with you. Okay, let me see any other questions I would have probably missed in the first attempt. The process of agile mindset. Okay, so we don't have anything like I don't think we have anything like an agile mindset implementation, but we have agile maturity implementation. You have some radar charts and you have a structured way to do an improvement in the agile maturity. Probably there you can include mindset as one of the attributes also. And you may need to create appropriate questions over there by actually partnering with the diversified groups. See, the point is like this. Whatever, the point is like this. Whatever, whatever questions you are creating or no, those questions should not be viewed as someone created the question and then imposing it on the team. Because the moment I go with an assessment sheet of 50 questions and sit in front of the team, believe me, the team will have internally, hey, who is this guy to have all these questions and then evaluating me? Of course, I have the positional authority as an enterprise agile coach. But then believe me, they will not resonate with me at a heart level. It will be just a very transaction level communication. So one of the way to do an assessment is, first you need to conduct a session of explaining the assessment sheet. And then you need to ask feedback from the team. Guys, does this sheet resonates more with you? Does this sheet make more relevance with you? And if they give any feedback, factor that particular feedback in the sheet. Then now take the sheet and then go to the team. Believe me, the team will resonate with you well. And this is one of the important attribute of an agile coach. If you can't even convince your own team, guys, how are you going to convince the head of the product management group, the head of the LOB leads, and how are you going to convince your board of directors? So try to convince your team first. Try to slowly expand your circle of influence, and then probably once you get a small wins, you as a person will have that particular zeal and enthusiasm to take it forward to the next level. Okay, I will share you some of my links so people who are interested can connect with me through that link. 1 minute. Because we are in the closure time. This is my YouTube channel. And if you are interested to subscribe, feel free to do it. And this is my website. Okay, 1 minute. This is my website. Okay. And this is my private Facebook group. I just created a private Facebook group where I post some of my agile videos. I used to make some videos and then I used to post it over there. You can send a request to this group, and once I approve, you can join the private Facebook group. This is my LinkedIn URL. Okay, why am I pinging it separately? No, last time when I pinged it, it all clubbed together and became a paragraph, and people had a difficulty to take it for their consumption. So I am trying to reduce the batch size by actually pinging one by one. Okay, and if you guys want to have a quick conversation with me, you can actually ping me on this number. This is my WhatsApp number, and probably if you want to talk to me in terms of your real-time challenges in Scrum, in terms of the Scrum Agile, or some people may have some challenges whether I need to become a Scrum Master or whether I need to become an no Agile project manager, because the industry itself is a bit confused. They are saying is Scrum Master, but then the JD says more of project management. And once I join the company, it actually looks like more of a PMO role. So it is a mixture of Scrum Master, project manager, project management office, project coordinator. So I'm not very clear on what am I supposed to do exactly. And some people will have some challenges in terms of which particular certification to do. Whether I need to do ACSM, Advanced Certified Scrum Master, or Advanced Professional Scrum Master. Can I need to do a Safe Agilist, or do we need to do mandatorily Scaled Program Consultant? If you have any kind of doubts like that, you can just ping me on WhatsApp. Of course, I may not guarantee an immediate response to you based upon my own priorities, but then we can definitely block some time, and then, like, based on my experience, I can guide you. Decision you may need to take. All right. And one more thing is that, just for your information, I do run a program called Agile Mentorship Program, and the details of the program is been furnished in the website of me. You can probably get into the website link what I shared already, wherein I am actually giving, trying to build the real-time capabilities for Scrum Masters and Agile coaches. I do have multiple lesson plans or different capability building modules, like level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is for Scrum Master and team level Agile coaches. Level 2 is for enterprise Agile coaches. Level 3 is for Agile leadership roles, like Agile COE head, Agile practice head, Agile transformation office head. And I recently came up with a lesson plan called Agile 4Ps, means project, program, portfolio, and product management. I also do sometimes a JD based coaching, enabling you to clear interviews based on my experience. If in case you feel, if in case you like to feel connected with me, you can just reach out to me. Okay, cheers, bye.